Davao, and I've seen that there's oh Ai and Madet. They are from or they are in Quezon right now. So introducing permaculture. So it's really something that you have to know, something that is ancient yet new. Um, Permaculture has been a practice of our ancestors, which was actually extracted by Bill Mollison, an Australian, the late Bill Mollison, and he studied all the indigenous cultures, one of which was his appreciation of what our ancestors did with the Banawi rice terraces. And when we speak of permaculture, it's really very simple. So, how would you have a life that is joyful without harming anyone? So, when you um, what's this? When you have a problem because the earth has been depleted even before, that's what the observation, not only of Bill Mollison, the one who coined the term and introduced the uh, framework on permaculture. Permaculture comes from the two words permanent agriculture, and then later they the terms were expanded into permanent culture because it's actually dealing with all aspects of life. And when we say all aspects of life, it's all about your thoughts, which must be consistent with your words and also in consonance with your actions. So it's all about consistency, it's all about integrity. So, how do you live a simple life which is joyful without harming anyone? So, permaculture, as I mentioned, is something which has been there even before. So, these are the practices of our ancestors, which they have passed on to us. But unfortunately, uh, most of us view ourselves as different from nature. So that is when the problem comes in, when there is a division between you and nature. So how you treat nature is a reflection of how you actually treat yourself. But when the division or the fragmentation comes in, that's where the challenge really lies. And how are you going to make it as a practice? And as I mentioned, there must be a consistency. So it's really all about changing the mindset that nature and humans, that ourselves, including flora and fauna, our soils, we are one and the same. So it's really how you treat yourself. And not only that, but how you mirror this kind of treatment to everything that has life. And when you don't have that kind of mindset or that kind of perspective, like uh, you are into mountain climbing, you are a self-declared environmentalist, but look, uh, when you go up, or when you use um or when you get involved with growing trees, you don't even care about the objectives of that event, and you don't even participate prior or in the planning, and you don't even make it a point to understand what is it all about. So what is your value system, like uh caring for the environment, but you are still patronizing corporations who are into mining, yet you are very angry about mining. It's just like, and then you want to localize the purchase of products, but at the same time, you are not really into it. So there's a cognitive dissonance. So it's just easy to say that, oh, um, I'm into environment, I care for the environment, but it's okay for me to just go to the market, and when I see tomatoes which are flawless, I want to buy that. But when you see tomatoes which have a lot of flaws, you wouldn't really buy that. And when you see a cabbage that has a little bit of wilt or a little bit of damage, you wouldn't, of course, buy that. So also, without even thinking that a farmer was behind that, and when it's wilted, you can actually buy the entire cabbage, and when you are at home, you can return the damaged parts of that cabbage back into the ground or back into the soil. And then you care about the earth, but you're afraid to, you know, make your hands dirty. The kind of education that has been passed on to us by our colonizers, the U.S., the Western education. So you remember the songs, because I'm already 63 years old. So the song that I have two hands, right? I have two hands, the left and the right. Hold them up high, so clean and bright. So getting your hands and with your nails, you know, dirty because you connect with nature. So you're even afraid to touch it. It may take time as you transition because you have been living in an urban setting. So you are exposed to corporate world. So when you were a child, you you were also exposed to living in a condominium. So, you know, separating yourself from the soil, being afraid of it, yet you want something from the soil that is flowless, that you are even afraid of worms, you are even afraid of caterpillars. So your tendency when you see them is that you have to kill them. And some are even afraid of snakes. And they forgot that each flora and fauna, each human, all of us, we have our own purposes. We have roles to play. And what's this? We really have to understand that whatever we do to ourselves is exactly the kind of treatment that we have to give to others and those living, not only humans, but the flora and the fauna. So they have life. We have to treat them with compassion. We have we have to be kind to ourselves primarily so that we can do that to others and we can reach out. And um, we we are afraid to poison ourselves with the food that we eat, and for others also, it's just nothing for them because what is more important is convenience. And sometimes they even equate convenience with mm, health. And there are those also, um, I'm very thirsty by now. And so what if I buy, what's this, a bottle of water instead of making it a habit and a part of your life to being a flask or a water container. And they don't even, have the courage to really stand on what they value most. So whenever they go into a coffee shop and that coffee shop um, is more on disposable and paper products, why can't you just say, I am not supporting disposables and water, what's this, paper products? Can I have a mug instead? So if the crew would say, yes, we can actually do that, and they would feel your sincerity, they we really find a means for you to use a mug instead. So even if you see that they are a bit confused because the mug is for their own personal use, but so what? You can actually encourage them to have you use it. Yet on the other hand, you are advocating to, let's not cut trees, let us grow trees, but we have a lot of cognitive dissonance. And it's really very hard for us. But if you would really be conscious about it, you really have to have a mindful means of knowing your values, your priorities, and not just knowing but going beyond it. Is what I am doing ethical? Are my decisions consistent with what I advocate? Um, am I really who am I? That nature and I are one and the same. This you will find out if you are going to join us on October 19th. It's a one day. It's really taking a lot of glimpses into how you can make your life sustainable. And for me, I I was able to do it when I learned to know what permaculture is. It might be abstract and a lot of conceptual framework, but if you really find ways like visiting a permaculture space, not necessarily a farm, and you can even start just by simply having a patch of a space in your front yard, in your backyard, or there might be a space which is just adjacent to your home, or if you are living in a condominium, uh, you can actually use pots. And there are so many ways, even if you are in living in different settings, and one of which also is to develop a community in which you might not be nearer to each other, but if you have a community to if you have a community of who see themselves as earth stewards, that the resources that are now present, we are just caretakers of them for the next generation to come. We can pool our resources, our knowledge, our skills, what we can contribute to each other, and to make us practice our sustainable life, even if we live in urban areas. So things like that. And we will learn more about it on October 19. So that will be on a Saturday. And uh, as I mentioned earlier, you really have to see yourself as in oneness with Mother Earth. And when you see something, you really have to observe, and you really have to interact, because permaculture as a way of life is actually a design system. So how are you going to design the aspects of your life? So it's not only about the soil, but it's also about how you relate with yourself, how you relate with others, uh, veering away from fragmentation, from separateness, from division. And you always have to remember that what is good for you is good for everyone. And when you have that kind of mindset, uh, it's really a permaculture practice. So it's from how you relate to yourself, how you connect with all the elements, um, where you live, where you work, where you interact with your other communities. And it's really in harmony with everything that you are engaging with. So it's not just, it's all about connection. So how are you going to create a connection? But before connecting it to others, you really have to connect first with yourself. So you should really be very mindful about your values in life. So what are your priorities also? And when there is consistency also between your values and your priorities, permaculture really is for you. So it's not something that you just put it in a drawer and then assume another role when you are at the workplace, or depending on who you are with. So there really must be consonance. It's all about harmony. It's all about influencing others also by showing and telling them that living with nature, which is very simple, which is really very basic, is attainable, and it is possible with how you relate with yourself, since you mirror how you relate with others as well. And these are not just human beings. And another key word also is diversity. So that's biodiversity of flora and fauna. And it doesn't also include just not just the people that you work with, the people that you are having conversations with it, because we are really diverse. So we are not, we don't have the same we don't have the same faces of physically. We might be in different sizes, shapes, and forms, but there are also more we are more alike than different at the same time. So it's really how we look at things superficially or how we look at stuff uh, in depth. So it's all about, you know, about being authentic to ourselves. And also, when we speak of permaculture, it's how we collaborate with each other, and it has the same characteristics as what nature is. So we are collaborators, we are cooperators, we are not competitors. So even under the soil, there is a network, and that network is really all about collaborations. So it is only in human language that we use words such as invasive, um, competition. So in order to achieve something, we have to step on someone's shoes. And it could also be literal, like when we connect with the earth. And when we connect with the earth, we are actually grounded. It makes us mindful and it makes us healthy. So we have a healthy mind, we have a healthy physicality, and we are also healthy spiritually. So that's for me, that's what really permaculture is. It's not only about, uh just the soil, because we are more than the soil. And we are a part of the soil, but we are more than that. And this holds true to all that is life. And in permaculture, you would really have a joyful life, and you will really be cooperating with each other. And it doesn't only apply to humans, but all that have lives. So we live happily and we create more lives. So for me, that's what permaculture is. And every time that you think, every time that you say something, and every time that you execute your decisions, your thoughts, your words, it should really be in alignment with living with nature. And what does it mean, living with nature? What does it really mean? So, what really is nature? It's all about us. It's all about our environment. It's all about our surroundings. So, it's nothing new. It has been there for a long time. And to really, review, assess if we are doing the right thing, if we are living the way that we really want it. Because if you ask anybody who would even say that I am for war, who would even say that I want to I want to poison myself, I want to eat, of course, something that is healthy and at the same time that is delicious. And how do we do that? For one thing is we really have to grow our own food, because uh, ever since, for a long, long time, food has been weaponized. Food scarcity, famine, things like that. These have been manipulated, and history would really attest to that. If we only have time really to uh, look for information deeply, rather than just because the mainstream with all the subliminal subliminal manipulation that has been marketed and programmed for us and to us, we would really think that not producing our food, consuming processed and convenient foodstuffs are really the best, and we have been poisoned with that you know uh not only poison, but we are spending our hard earned money to poison ourselves, and we have really been programmed with that. So even our critical thinking been affected. So if we cannot grow our own food, we really have to be mindful uh what the uh what we buy. So it should really be, as I mentioned, consistent. And uh it's really very meaningful. It's really very productive, and it's really very substantive to have a permaculture way of life. And if you would, because I'm already 63 years old, so I'm not retired, but at the same time, not retired. For I really want to share and spread permaculture that it is really attainable. So in whatever capacity that we can do, we always have to go back to our authenticity. We really should go back that we are all good persons, and as good people, we have to treat um, everyone, and we have to respect, we have to honor not only ourselves, but the people that we engage with, the people that we engage with, and also with the soil, with the plants, with the trees. It's all about, honoring the oneness in all of us. It's really going back to the basic. There's only one thing, there is only one that we can do is we have to live simply. And that simplicity uh, emanates from permaculture, which is actually a design system. So you are not only designing um, just one aspect, but all aspects of your life, and that they must really be what's this? They must really be in harmony. So it's really beautiful to have a sustainable life. And I also have observed that I have friends, I have a circle of permaculturist friends, and they spent a lot going from training to another, and it's really hard for them to start, but uh, a simple step, and that simple step is possible. So why not join us on October 19th? It's a 1 day uh, occasion, which is really life transforming. So be with us on October 19th and wait for the posters for it, because I would really be sharing what my life as a permaculturist is. And it's really very beautiful because you're not only living presently, because when you do that, you are really uh, making what you're doing now for the upcoming generation. generations. So what you do now as Earth Steward would also be experienced by the next generations to come. So the future ones would also be able to enjoy, and perhaps they will become more, or they will have a more thriving life because of the happiness, because of the healthy decisions that we make now. So again, join us on October 19, and if there's still a time, we can allocate questions for the Q&A, for the question and answer portion, and it would also be nice to hear what you can say. So anyone who wants to say something? So here, permaculture is an approach to land management and settlement design. So permaculture is really a design system in which you really have to establish the connection of all the elements: where you live, where you work, where you are engaged with. So it could be a community, it could be right in your home. So how would you design your living area? So how would you design your workspace so that there is efficiency, and you wouldn't be wasting resources? So what is given to you, you have to give it back 500% or more than what you have used. And what do we have here? What's that? So yes. So it's really very important to observe and to interact what is happening around. So when you grow something, you have to be in constant communication with that plant, or with how you design your, even the way that you design your kitchen. It's really very, very important. It's really very important to it's really very important to design everything so that you wouldn't be hurting the environment, because when you hurt the environment, you are actually hurting all those with lives. And again, it could be traced to um, how having a perspective of division, of having a perspective of divisiveness. So if you see yourself as someone who is extraordinary while the others are ordinary, and then you feel superior, so that's how fragmentation is, and the consequences are enormous and they are huge. So we have most. What else ba? Can you reconnect your earphone? So would anyone want to say something?
Hello, mayong gabi, Ma'am Jes.
Ay, Mayo. Oo.
Ayan. Mayong gabi, Ma'am Jes. Salamat sa imuhang like insights about permaculture and imuhang gi-share about the permaculture. Ako question, ma'am, is for example, naa sa city life ang amuang setup. So, saan na siya pag-integrate kay syempre sa city challenging siya, no? Ginaw-naw na lang nako kung sa city siya.
Oo. O kasi before I was working in Makati. Makati had been my workplace, so and I live in a condo. So what I do is that I really buy local, and I go to the market, and of course I also go to the supermarket because uh I was really into organic uh vegetables. So if you are if you go to the mercado or to the palengke, 'di ba? You should develop, good relationship with the vendors until such time that you could trust them and vice versa. And then you would ask, uh, sometimes explicitly or in a subtle way. So meron ba yang nag-spray ba to? So things like that. So and then you have to make your I'm cooking except the easy to prepare like microgreens. So I just put it in the fridge or in the pantry, so things like that. And then even with the tofu, I don't buy the one which is in the supermarket. So I was able to access it directly, and I was also was that asking if it's GMO or not. So I I cook the tofu and uh just put it in the fridge. And I also talaga really make baon, no? Nagbabaon talaga ako just to make sure that I live a healthy life. And then another one, as a meditator, for the last 10 years, I was imagining all the structures in Makati as a forest. So even when I was walking there, I would really visualize that I'm in a forest. So things like that. And then I have a little, what's that? I have a little porch or terrace bana. So I grew some veggies, easy ones, uh in a pot. So I was maybe if I was able to, develop sana a community in which you would really have to work together. It might be expensive, but it's really worth a try. So things like that. And syempre, you always have to, to bring your water flask, di ba? And then, like, you are really craving for something, but they are using, what's this, yung kanang plastic, mga disposable. So, just drink water na lang. Or, have your flask, and then, develop also a relationship with others, di ba? Like, uh, pwedeng dito na lang sa plasco, or you can carry things. It might be difficult, especially like you would be said, I'm commuting. So I would have to carry everything. And when you go also to the supermarket or to the palengke, you also have to bring your own plastic. That's what we do. And then when we have this what's this mga plastic, you really have to minimize, and then you also learn how to refuse, di ba? Just because, and then you really have to be very mindful kasi sometimes they would easily put everything na in a plastic, di ba? Because they have been programmed that way eh. And then when everybody will say, oh, we have eco bag, and we have what we call that, mga eco plastics, but these are actually green capitalism. And number two is we really need to educate ourselves also, and we have to have discernment, and we have to find out things from ourselves. We just don't accept that just because everyone is saying go to the right, you would immediately go to the right. And it's really nice that you have to start young and live in the countryside if there's a way. And I know sometimes also you really have to save a lot, and so that you assure a future where you could own a property perhaps, or you can ask your neighbor if they have more space. So it's hard, I know, but who would really start it except yourself? So we can really change the world by changing first ourselves. So it's actually a show and tell. That's why here in our farm, we welcome others who are really very interested. So whatever we have, we share. So it's really nice. Like every day, after saying my gratitude, meditation, I'm so excited to go out to forage. So we have a lot of veggies here because uh, we are vegans, and then we have our clay oven. Also, we bake our own bread. So, what else? Huh? What's the name of your farm po and where is it located? Nako, uh, the name of our farm is Paradiso Ko. Why Paradiso Ko? Because uh, it is everyone's paradise, and uh, you actually become a designer or a creator of your own paradise. So if I can do it, why can't you? So it's really it's everyone's paradise. So it's not only mine, but when you, oh, let's go to Paradiso ko, because if I was able to make it possible, you can make it possible. More so if you are very young. Ay, sa Bukidnon po. Our farm is here in Bukidnon. Mm. Oh, hindi ko marinig ang sinasabi ni Joshua. You are muted. Nakamute ka.
Yes po,
Ay,
nagchika-chika lang
yun.
kami nila Tina kasi plan
Okay.
namin pumunta sa inyo sa Paradiso. So nagasabot na kami.
Paradiso ko. Oo.
Paradiso mo. Paradiso.
Hindi, paradiso ko.
Hindi,
Hindi ko sabi
paradiso ko. Opo.
everyone's paradise. Mm-mm.
Thank you po, thank you. Ang naano ko po doon, ang nakuha ko doon is just start somewhere kasi parang di kailangan overcomplicate eventually
So,
maplastar o maplastar siya.
and then it would also be nice ka nang malaman mo unsa ba uh, what is keeping because I know a lot who have been training. They're into permaculture, and then and hindi lang basta-basta, no, they trained overseas, and then they have this bamboo something, and they are into uh agriculture something, but they couldn't start to think that they have their own living spaces, their own landscape. So you have to it baby steps, might work out for you, or it could be a cold turkey approach kaagad-agad. And then it's really important to have a vision, because without a vision, parang saan-saan ka na lang, and then what's your action plan? 'Di ba? Action plan could be just 6 months, but when you have a vision, you make sure that all your activities for that for the next 6 months, or for a year, or for the next 2 years, will all lead to that vision of how many years that you would like, because your vision should really be encompassing. So let's say 10 years ba yan? So after after 10 years, I want this and that. So how do I begin? So action plan ka muna from October to December. So how do you make it possible through action planning? And then when you do the action plan, you also have to review it. What are the hindering factors? What are the facilitating factors? So things like that. So you really have to have a vision first. Mm. Because the vision would change, but it would be a good guide for you. So, but so what do you really want to have in life? Simple lang, di ba? You just want to be happy. You just want to be healthy. You have moments to enjoy the company of your family, even the company of yourself, because it should really start from that point. And when I know the company of your community, and this is really possible when you make permaculture as your way of life. Because if not, nako, you are really enslaving yourself. So sometimes no, others are already old and then others are already dead, not knowing what they really want in life. So do you really want an 8 to 5 work? Do you really want to travel and what this spend more time along the streets? Or do you want just a simple life in which you are healthy, which you are happy? So it's not all about just taking a vacation somewhere and then after that you feel empty again, or going to a cafe to spend a lot and then or buying something and then the joy of buying, but when you purchase that, you just realize that it just gives you temporary happiness. So what do you really want in life? We we want to love and be loved. And when you do these things, you're really happy. And how do you do that? We have to be healthy in our decisions. And we have to make our minds also healthy. And if there are moments in which we are sad, we just have to acknowledge it. But we have to transcend it. It's really our choice not to get stuck to that sadness and to that desperation. And sometimes there are those who make their desperations as an inspiration to be uh to attain what their dream is. So do you want to be successful by stepping on others shoes, or stepping on others feet? So things like that, you really have to know what makes you happy. So anyone pa? So, Ay sila pala, si Ayi and Madet. So nakapasyal na kayo kay Ben sa Habilin Farms? Nakapasyal na mo? Kasi malapit lang pala kayo. Oo nga, no? So what else do you want to know? I have a question. So what makes you happy? What is your dream? Anyone? Anyone? Oh, we are so quiet. Anyone who would like to share? And permaculture is not really hard because when we say permaculture, it's all about efficiency. It's about returning back to nature more what we have gotten, but it seems that a lot of us, because of fragmentation, we we violate nature, we deplete it, and then when we suffer the consequences, we attribute it to others, we attribute it to other factors, we blame others, and we don't own the decisions that we make. Hence, we don't make ourselves accountable. And it's so nice, no, when you because I live in a farm, so if you don't have a farm, so how do you feed yourself? Where do you buy it? And how do you spend your resources? And it's decision that you make. Are you harming yourself? Are you harming nature? So things like that. And you really have to, who are you going to patronize when you purchase something? And if you are really say and if you are a permaculturist and you are into business, you are guided by the ethical by the ethics of permaculture. So it's not really something that is, you know, it's not reaping others. So we could actually, if we have a community, we could actually make it possible for the farmers, for the gardeners to have a direct relationship with the consumers. And there are a lot of permaculturists who are really, what's that, earning reasonably. And then they also have, they can also offer, they offer also like um, internship. And when they do that, you you wouldn't only be learning, but they, some permaculturists are also providing you accommodation and food. So that's board and lodging for free, in which you have to volunteer. So there are things like that. And there are also permaculturists um who really are what's this, because they have been observing and interacting with their environment. So if they live in a different, what's this? It's a sloping that encompasses lowland and at the same time higher elevation. So they produce the fruits, the vegetables that they produce are really sustainable. So you really have to study. Uh, you really have to document how are you going to supply your what's this, clients or those you have partnerships with, like restaurants or direct consumers, so that they could avail of your healthy products and services. So, if you are having that kind of thinking, really document it so that uh, this week, uh, and what's that? As restaurant owners, also we should also, what's this? Have a collaboration with our suppliers. Like, no, don't just have a menu, you know, for a week or your permanent menu. You can actually change it so that what's in season you can also provide now. And then you can also have a freezer so that the fruits in season you can actually uh, freeze them and assure, shakes or smoothies. And you could also turn them into jams, into preserve. So there are really a lot of things which you could do as a permaculturist, because you have to produce your own food, and then you are into preserve you also preserve the fruits which are in season. And you really have to collaborate with your with the communities that you serve, so that you would have constant communication, so they wouldn't feel that, oh, you cannot supply us with the same ingredients that we need. But if you can do that through knowing how to have a sustainable supply of condiments or ingredients or veggies or aquaculture products, then that would really be nice. So it's not just, uh, delivery, and then upon delivery, the payment. So you really have to develop really relationship, partnerships, collaboration. Oh, we're almost 8 o'clock now. So anyone who wants to say something? Wala na questions?
I think wala na pong question. And for me also, ma'am, thank you so much sa time nyo. And imbes na 30 minutes, naging 1 hour. So we are so grateful sa extended time na imong gihatag sa tanan. And for sure, mga tanang tao na adiri daghan pong natun-an about permaculture. And kanto wala kani is para sa ka idea lang sa tanan. This is just an intro.
Mm.
Na ay one class about permaculture karong October 19. So kung kinsay mga interested, feel free to message the people na nag-share sa inyo sa link or nag-invite sa inyo sa intro to permaculture. So, agamay lang na murag idea about kay Ma'am Jes. Si Ma'am Jes is ano na gid siya. Ang iyang lifestyle is full-time permaculture. So, ang ilahang food is gina-harvest lang gid nila sa like sa ilang farm, sa ilahang land. So wala na kay sila nag-rely sa market kanang sa mga convenience o sa mga mall. So it's a lifestyle pod na ako ang murag ganahan pod na ako na murag mubalik pod ko sa self reliance or kanang murag self-sufficiency na kind of lifestyle. So I think kadto lang, and katong mga people who wants to like honor Ma'am Jess, you can message chat diri sa GC. Sa chat nag-message si Tina. All good po for the very detailed intro. Thank you for the generosity. Si Ma'am Grace Fer, thank you din daw po, ma'am. And si Ma'am Rowena, thank you, ma'am. God bless. Thank you, Ma'am Jes.
Okay, maraming salamat. Good night from the cold, malamig na,
Bisita mi dira
balay-balay.
pohon, ma'am.
Oo. After
Thank
no,
you
sige.
po.
Bye-bye,
Thank you.
salamat.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Salamat,
Bye.
good night.